During this year, we will honor a special deacon each month who has served in the military for both God and country. May we never forget the values of the Republic and the valor of the men and women in uniform who have defended it. May we always be mindful of the blood spilled across generations to safeguard liberty. This month, we are honoring Deacon Joe DeLeon, born in 1963. He served from 1995 until 2020. Joe proudly served his country and protected our borders. And now, Joe DeLeon will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Lord, please bless all the pastors and deacons of Shadow Mountain Church. Thank you for choosing us to be disciples for you. Please allow us to help and guide our flocks so that through us, others can see your goodness and love. Let us be a shining light during the dark days of this pandemic. We look forward to the day when you lead us out of this wilderness and churches can open to full capacity again. Amen.
Los Angeles, California, 1995, brought us the trial of the century. The O.J. Simpson trial was a spectacle to behold, and it spread like a stain across the U.S. The year ended with an acquittal of the two murder charges, and for the first time we were introduced and educated on DNA evidence. On April 19, 1995, Oklahoma City was hit by the deadliest terror attack in America before 9/11. A shocking attack deep in the American heartland took the lives of 168 people to all of our sorrow. In the movie theaters, there were iconic films that year. At the 67th Academy Award ceremony in Los Angeles, Forrest Gump took home Best Picture, and Tom Hanks won Best Actor. Batman Forever grossed over $336 million worldwide, and out of Emeryville, California, a little-known company named Pixar produced their first ever film. Disney released Toy Story in November to worldwide acclaim. In the world of technology, the launch of the Netscape Navigator was the first internet browser that opened the floodgates to e-commerce. Microsoft released Windows 95, and DVDs were introduced for home entertainment. One short year later, Toshiba released the first consumer DVD player, which marked the beginning of the end for VCR players who had been dominating the market for nearly 20 years. Starbucks introduces the Frappuccino to locations all over the country in 1995, with the original flavors of mocha and coffee. In 1995, Billy Graham joined his son Franklin Graham for an evangelistic event in Wilmington, North Carolina. It took 21 days for President Bill Clinton and Speaker of the House Newt Gingrich to settle an impasse that partially shut down the government. With the shutdown and the White House staff being furloughed, interns volunteered full-time in the White House. A first-class stamp was 32 cents. Average price for a gallon of gas was $1.15. The median home price was $109,000, and the average income in the U.S. was $35,000. On the world front, the Bosnian War, which began earlier in the decade, finally ended in December when a U.S.-brokered peace treaty divided Bosnia into two self-governing entities. In sports, Michael Jordan returned to the NBA after a 17-month retirement. His new number for the Bulls was 45 because his number 23 had been retired. In the NFL, Super Bowl 29 was won by the San Francisco 49ers when they defeated the San Diego Chargers 49-26. The cost of a 30-second commercial during the big game was $1.1 million. The World Series saw the National League champs Atlanta Braves versus the American League champs Cleveland Indians. The Braves won in 6 games to capture their third World Series championship in franchise history. And on July 9th of that year, a 32-year-old Joe DeLeon enters Federal Law Enforcement Training Academy at Glencoe, Georgia. The 4.5 months of training consisted of immigration law, Spanish, shooting, firearms, driving, physical training, and boot camp. Our honoree, Joe DeLeon, was born in 1963 and raised in Stockton, California. In 1985, he graduated from the University of the Pacific with a bachelor's degree. After graduation, he later attended law school while continuing to work. After prayerful consideration, Joe was hired by the U.S. Border Patrol. Upon graduation from the Federal Law Enforcement Academy, Joe's first assignment was to the El Campo Station in Southern California. And in 1991, Joe and Marcy were married. At the El Campo Station near San Diego, Joe's mission was to prevent the entry of terrorists, terrorist weapons, criminals, drugs, and illegal aliens. Working in the San Diego region, the terrain consists of mountains and deserts, and the temperatures go from as high as 90 degrees to as low as the mid-30 degrees during the winter months. Most of the time, Joe was protecting the border as a single officer, defending the homeland. Joe was the first generation in his family to be born in the United States. And Joe says,
my mom was born in Mexico and raised in Mexico. So I've seen the poverty down there. And so it was a little easier for me to understand the plight that was going on with these people, and to have more compassion for them, I guess.
Joe shares that at many times he had given his lunch to the poor innocent people searching for jobs who had not eaten in days on their journey. The mission also included protecting the homeland from those with criminal records who have nefarious motives for entry. During Joe's career, he worked 30-day details in Indio, El Centro, Calexico, and Douglas, Arizona. In 2003, Joe transferred to the Canadian Border Patrol to work as an immigration officer in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. The assignment consisted of acting supervisor and acting port director, along with inspections at the airport, cruise ship terminal, and train station. While still in Vancouver, Joe's son, Eric, graduated from high school and moved back to San Diego. This broke Marcy's heart. During this time, Joe's sister introduced them to a Baptist church. Marcy started catching fire with the study of scriptures. Joe was slower to respond. In Joe's testimony, he sees God's providential hand in leading him. After 9/11, the newly created Department of Homeland Security was changing the way we protected our country. In 2007, Joe accepted a promotion and transferred back to the Border Patrol as a supervisor at his original assignment in El Campo. During his career there, he worked as an acting watch commander, checkpoint supervisor, field supervisor, and inside supervisor. His family was glad to be back in the San Diego region. Marcy and Joe raised their 2 children in Alpine, California, where they attended the Queen of Angels Catholic Church. After moving back to Alpine, his wife Marcy got her old job back. God was working behind the scenes as the family came full circle and the whole family came back together again. Still, not all of the pieces were in place until a friend introduced the family to Shadow Mountain Community Church, and they listened to Pastor Jeremiah. Joe made the decision to fully give his life to Christ. Joe says he had always known Christ, but never had a relationship. He and his wife Marcy were baptized together and are now leaders at the Alpine campus. This year, they both have accepted roles as deacon and deaconess at our church. And Joe retired after 25 years with the government, looking forward to serving his fellow church members. Joe DeLeon is a true American patriot.